This is a big one, Keith. I mean, they're all big, but you and Pink together, it's like, wow, the third horseman has decided to jump on the apocalypse, decided to jump on. We're one step closer. It's like, who'd have thunk they buried the key that deep? But yep, you and Pink on a song, and it's ridiculously big. It's
what
crazy.
Are you smoking, Zane Lowe? I don't even know where you're going with this. If we forget that you're from Middle Earth, we get reminded every now and then.
This is a big, big record. So you got to tell us the story about how you and Pink pulled the whole thing together, because you move in your own space.
Yeah, well, the song's called One Too Many. Percolated for a little while, building this track and getting this thing sounding good and feeling good, and then we had to find a good duet partner. And I've always loved Pink's voice. I mean, she's one of the greats, and I don't mean that like just throwaway. I mean literally, she's a singer's singer. I can't imagine any singer disagreeing with that. She's the real deal. And she's a great storyteller, and I think that's what sets her apart from so many other people that have got good voices. She's an incredible storyteller. You can feel all of her humanity when she sings. So she was just perfect for this party.
She cuts right to the heart of it. You're right. She really does. And it's funny because you could have reached out to a number of people who would have handled that part really brilliantly, like done an incredible job. But there's something, you're right, about the way that Pink delivers the words that takes you into a space that's full commitment. Like, she's fully dedicated when she shows up, right?
She is. Yeah. You can tell everything that she does, she's committed. She doesn't half-ass it. She's all in. I love that about her.
So tell us what kind of mood you were in when you wrote this song, because it's sort of one of those brilliant kind of cries for help, but delivered in a very sort of like tongue-in-cheek kind of way, right? Which is great because it's subversive. There's definitely a cry for help in there, though. Well,
it's what I call a reluctant surrender. Is what this song is. You're at the end of the night, it's been a long night, you're at the bar, you swear to God you're not going to answer that phone, you're not going to make that call. Eventually you're like, come take me home. I've had one too many. I know that place really well. This is a song that was written by some really good, some couple of good friends of mine, and they sent it to me. I wrote a lot of songs on this record, but when I got sent this song, I just went, no brainer. It just spoke to me right away.
How do you know, man? What's the distinction between something that you've penned that comes from somewhere special, and I know you're really comfortable and really great. Well, no, actually, it's a terrible word. You're beautifully uncomfortable singing other people's songs because you pour so much of yourself into them like they're your own. But what distinguishes that feeling that you get when you hear something that isn't yours, but you can make it a part of your life and your legacy?
Oh, it just speaks to me. It just speaks to me. I mean, the same reason I hear a song anywhere, if someone's got a new single out or a new album, and I hear a song and I go, oh my God, that right there, that song speaks. The same way all of us. I mean, that's really all of us. Something about the song connects to something that we're either going through, have gone through, wish we could go through. But it speaks to me, and that song is I know this song very well.
Yeah, me too. Still learning that lesson, actually, so you're smarter than I. Do you get emotional when you hear your own music in process? Do you ever get a feeling when you're listening to a song in a mixed stage or when you've written it or whatever where the emotion catches you off guard because perhaps the words did?
Yeah. Actually, there's something that comes through. There's another song on the record called Change Your Mind that had that thing happen where as we were doing it and I was listening to it back, I went, there's this little thing is making its way through this song and I can feel it coming out the speakers. I don't even know quite what it is, but it's when one and one becomes three, that other thing comes into play.
We've got Keith Urban with us right here, and we're excited. It's album week. This isn't your first rodeo, but this album obviously means a lot to you. It's one of those records that was made in very different circumstances. And like an increasing amount of your peers, you've been able to adapt and pivot and find a way to finish it and get it ready. And I wonder if it feels different on release week than it has in the past, and if so, how?
Yes and no, actually. I mean, it feels a little different because we're not going to the normal places to play. We're not going to do certain appearances at certain places, and even radio visits or just sort of interview visits or flying somewhere and doing this and going over to Germany to set the record up there and Europe and down to Australia, sort of everywhere. We're going everywhere but never leaving the house. which is so 2020.
So 2020. You've been pretty open though, and elaborate a bit on something that we spoke about at the beginning of quarantine, where you said that, you know, you were finding it tough. I was finding it tough. Everyone was finding it tough. And, you know, elaborate a little bit more in a recent conversation about that. But you've been able to go and change your situation and your environment up a little bit. And I wonder if sort of coming back and getting to the end of this year, how your sort of mindset has changed.
It's just so in flux right now. My relationship with this reality is constantly in flux. I have times when I forget it's happening, and then I have times when I'm driving. Usually when I'm driving and it just hits me, I'm like, what happened? Did this really happen? What the? Like, what? You know, and it's a bit too surreal. It's, you know, there's a great line in Spinal Tap, which is right, still profound, when they're standing over Elvis's grave and it's very heavy, and he goes, it really gives you a whole new perspective, and he goes, too much in perspective. And I've often driven around thinking, right now there's too much in perspectives is what there is.
It's not your job to be as stupid as Nigel is.
That's right. It's true though, right?
What's wrong with being sexy? What's nothing wrong with being sexy? There's nothing wrong.
It's so real right now that it's just sort of overwhelming sometimes.
Do you think that the creators, that Higgins and crew, do you think they often sit back sometimes like once every year and just have a few jars and just sort of like marvel at the fact that they predicted why the entertainment industry was just basically that the joke is real? Do you think they literally just be like, wow, that's crazy?
I know it's, but you know, art imitating life, imitating art. It's just this cyclical, especially now, we don't even know what's real anymore. We're all becoming avatars.
This music's going to be is going to land in total in such a special way. You've really, you know, you've tried new things. I do want to talk to you just quickly about some of the new collaborators that you worked on, just as a kind of to whet the appetite for this week. You know, we've spoken openly about how brilliant Breland is, someone who is close to us now in Apple Music Country. How is that experience? And just breaking it. I just love the fact that you're a restless soul. You never ever get locked into in a room that you know you're comfortable in. You're looking for the way out, and it seems like you've done that again on this album.
I'm looking for what we got in common. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm driven by. I'm driven by that in people, in music, in everything. I'm driven by what's the place where we connect and create a new color that we've never seen before. And it wouldn't have happened without the two of us coming together. That person couldn't have done it, I couldn't have done it. But together, we made this third thing. That's what I'm driven by. It's an endless curiosity.